Hello there, folks. I am Rebecca Adams. You're watching Free to Soar, and I have two people with me tonight, not just one. So we have our regular, which is Becky Vermeer.
Yeah.
We have Leah Denham with us tonight, and that's such a perfect fit. You have no idea. I love denim, like jeans, that kind of fabric.
Yeah.
I love it. Love it.
It's spelled with an A, not an I, but hi.
And Leah is going to talk with us tonight, and we're really excited about this. And I know y'all are going to learn a lot. Did you want to say something, Becky?
I just said, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was just agreeing with you.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So then, fast forward. We'll probably go back to some questions, but just based on what you said, nobody could want somebody like that. Sitting here talking to you today and knowing you the way that I've known you in the past year or so, I feel like you don't feel like that anymore.
No,
How do you feel about you today?
I love myself. I think I've overcome a lot. I've beat all their statistics because I hate that they put people as a statistic.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to be a part of that. And so I fought really hard. I met a really nice guy, which, that doesn't come along. He could handle me, which I'm a hard person to handle sometimes. He's a really quiet guy. But he's been my rock, and I never thought that somebody damaged like me would be able to find somebody so soft spoken and care for me. There is still men out there, yeah, I'm blessed now.
When you first started that relationship, did you still think you were damaged?
Yes.
So then
Yes.
what changed? When did that change?
I got with him when I first started to decide I wanted to change my life, and he was very tender with me and told me I was beautiful all the time. And it took, I'd say we've been together we've been together 2.5 years, and it's taken probably a whole year. Like, he has been very patient with me and just reassuring me all the time, which, is kind of hard to do, but he's reassured me and helped me become the person I am today.
Yeah. So then how do you take all the do what?
I was evil to him. Like, I always felt like I really have always felt like, there was something up. Something was suspect, like, what was he thinking, or why was he doing this? Like, who could really love me? Like, I thought he was a liar, like he wanted something out of me, but it's taken a long time it's hard.
Yeah.
That would be a lot to overcome, to work past and really listen to what they're saying and believe them. I get that.
Yeah. But there is people out there that are patient, I never thought I'd find one, but I did. And I'm blessed for it.
So then let's rewind again a little bit, because listening to your story that you shared with us earlier, so you have 2 kids with the person, and then you have a third child with the second person. Where did that
Yes.
person come from?
Work. I met him. I started working at a restaurant. We're gonna leave it kind of bland like that, but I met him there, and he gave me the time of day, and that's all it really took, was somebody just to tell me I was pretty, to, you know what I mean? Just a itty bitty time of the day. And so I got with them real quick. I mean, that was my to go to, I'd get with them and I move in with them within 2-3 weeks, because I was scared to lose that person. Like, I just really wanted somebody to love me. So I met him at work, and I got pregnant really quick by him. And then it had started over again. And he decided that, I didn't need to talk to anybody. And he's going to go out and leave me pregnant at home. And, it was the same old thing. He didn't hit me. He only hit me once, but that's the first time I've ever hit somebody back. And that was a little empowering, but it was just wrong, because then it puts you in a different mind frame where you think you have to fight your way through everything now. So that started.
If you hit him back once and he stopped hitting you, I could totally see how you're like, aha, this is the solution. But it does
Yes.
put you on that cycle of violence in a completely different way then.
Yes. I've never been a violent person until I kind of got with him, and then I realized that it stopped. So if I could whoop anybody around me, it would just stop, you know?
So
So
then did that set you up to be a violent person for a while? Or was it just an isolated incident?
no, I became violent. I I liked to fight after that. It made me feel empowered that nobody can hurt me anymore, you know? So if somebody said something wrong to me, if a guy did something wrong, I would just start hitting, and it turned me kind of violent. Like I was kind of mean there for a lot of years
So then
because
when did
nobody
that
can hurt
change?
me.
Right?
That changed pretty much about 2.5 years ago.
Mhm.
When I decided I wanted to change my life, I knew I couldn't do that anymore. That's been extreme struggle because that's always been, I'm a softie. um, and I didn't want anybody to know I was a softie because then you get used more.
Mhm.
So that's what I pretty much did.
Yeah.
It
And I
really,
can completely
did you
understand
feel
that.
vulnerable at that point?
Well, yeah, when you're soft, I mean, you get taken advantage more and people
Mhm.
hit you more, and men know it's okay to hit on me because I felt soft, you know what I mean? Like, so I did. I felt very vulnerable through the whole thing. So I never, my mom's like, if people realized how soft you were, I was like, they'll never know. Like, I cry at commercials, you know what I mean? But you know, I didn't want people to see that side of me. I wanted people to see that I was mean, so maybe they'd, you know, leave me alone, which wasn't the case. But yeah, it started something really bad
So
in me.
you really put yourself at risk when you decided to do that, to take that persona away and begin to change your life. That took a lot of courage, sounds like to me.
Yeah, I was just tired of getting hit on, I think. And so I decided, ooh, I'm gonna be this really big bad person, you know what I mean? And yes, but it did cause a lot more problems. I mean, a lot more problems.
Mhm.
Because when a guy thinks that you can hit on him, they're gonna hit on you back. And so it started, I mean, I got my teeth busted out. I've had, you know, just a lot of, I've been beat up a lot of ribs broken, a lot of everything, because that's what I decided. But I look like the person that could take care of myself. So
Mhm. But
You
to
like
let
that person? I'm
no, I
sorry.
like crying. Do I like that person?
Yeah, I just wanted to know, did you like the person that you became when you decided
Yes.
I'm gonna be the hitter. I'm gonna be the tough guy. You liked that person?
At that time, yes, because I felt like it protected me. And you know, when you heard my name, it wasn't, oh, she's such a sweet girl. Oh, I wouldn't mess with that girl. So that's kind of what I started liking, because then I felt empowered with it, because I felt
Mhm.
like a man couldn't hit me anymore.
Right.
Dumb, but yeah.
Well, I mean, you come out of a position where you've got people who are showing you no respect whatsoever, and now you've got people who are respecting you. I mean, they're respecting you because they're afraid of you. So there's a fine line there of what that respect looks like. But I would venture to guess that felt pretty good. You went
Yeah.
from being the one who was being abused to standing up for yourself, and now people are afraid of you. But that equates respect, but it's not a good respect, if that makes any sense.
Yes, I
We don't
thought
want
that
people to be afraid of us.
yeah, I did. I wanted everybody to be afraid of me. So, you know, it did felt good. It did feel good. I'm not gonna lie. It made me a person that I thought I never would be. But
Right.
yes. So
It's a
unfortunately,
defense
yes.
mechanism. Well, it's a defense mechanism. I mean, you were taking care of you. You were doing what you had to do to take care of you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
So
when you
yeah, I learned how to fight.
Yeah.
so when you decided 2.5 years ago that you were going to change, That's what I meant. Like you really put yourself at risk, I would think. That, I mean, that maybe I should say it a different way. That was quite a risk for you to take.
Yeah.
To allow the soft side of you to be shown. It's impressive. I'm wanting to hear more about that.
Well, I think that's been about one of the hardest things I've struggled with. Because I started getting my emotions back. I started opening up a little bit, and I couldn't stop crying. So it's made me very uncomfortable. I think this past half of a year, this last year, I'm just okay with it. I mean, it's taken me a lot to get to be the softie, and I didn't let other people watch me cry. I mean, I might let my mom see me cry, but when I start crying or something, I usually walk out of the room. It's still a little hard here and there, but I don't ever want to be that person again, so trying to embrace it.
Yeah. So I'm curious, we keep talking about 2.5 years ago. What exactly happened 2.5 years ago where you decided, okay, I'm changing? What was the catalyst there?
Well, it was a lot of things. I got put by gunpoint on the side of the road in Oklahoma, because I wouldn't sleep with them. And then I don't know, I don't know, I guess I had a divine intervention, as we would call it. And my daughter got pregnant. And I came back, and I just didn't want to be the mean grandma. You know what I mean? And I don't know, it's a lot of things, but I've had enough, I think. Because you said you always wear masks throughout this thing. You wear a mask of you're this big bad person. You wear a mask, and it's like I've already ruined a bunch of people's lives. I felt like my kids and everybody because of the person I've turned out to be. So I was just kind of tired, to be honest with you. And I knew there was just more to life to what I was being. And so my granddaughter honestly had a lot to do with it. Like, I didn't want her to think she could be mean. I wish it was my kids. I do. But I was just too busy trying to find him a dad and find the white picket fence, to realize I was okay to be alone.
Mm-hmm.
And that was probably the hardest, besides my mean persona, to know that I might be alone. So that was scary to me. Like, I always felt like I needed somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So then at that point, did you make the decision that you don't need anybody anymore?
Yeah, I did actually. I never planned on meeting this guy. I actually told him to leave a couple times when I met him because he's a little younger than me. But I've just decided that, you got to find yourself and find out what people say is good about you. Like, I've always heard, oh, you're this, or you're a sweet person. You got a great heart, or there's something about you. And I'm like, you guys are just liars. And I was like, well, maybe there is something good about me, or I just didn't know what. I'm loud. I just didn't know what people seen in me. And so I just thought it was just time to be alone and figure out who I was. And that was hard because I didn't like the person I was.
Yeah. What did that journey look like? The journey to finding you, what did that look like?
The journey to finding Leah, it was a lot of crying, a lot of depression. I was alone a lot. Because I got all of my emotions back on top of that. So I didn't like myself. It was just a lot of alone time, and with God, it took him, to be honest with you, to get through anything that I've been through or was still going through.
Yep.
But it really did. It took somebody else to love me for me to love myself in a way. It was hard.
Was it that, or was it you had finally reached a place in your life where you wanted to open yourself up and be loved? You have to allow yourself to be loved. And so just because somebody comes along and says, hey, I look at you and I see that you're worthy of loving, doesn't change anything. unless you had gotten to a place in your life where you're like, dang it, I am worthy of love. Because what I heard you say up until that point was I was worthless. I wasn't good enough. So there was a mindset shift that took place somewhere. So when this soft-spoken person comes to you and says, you're worthy of my love, you had two choices, right? You could have said, walk away, because no, I'm not. Or you could have said, I like the way that that feels. I'm going to receive that. And so you made a decision on that day to receive it.
Yes, and it wasn't a man. It was watching my granddaughter be born.
Mhm.
I just decided there's something, like to see something so beautiful, you know, she's my everything, but to see something so beautiful that was made by my child made me realize I need to look at things differently. It wasn't a man. I've decided at that time that I was done with men and I needed to find myself. But yes, something clicked in me that just was like, I want to try, to love myself, because if you don't love yourself, like I said, there's nobody's going to love you because you don't love yourself. So I did. There was something that clicked in me that was just like, maybe I am worth it. Maybe there is something good about myself. So yeah, it took me to start loving myself before anybody could come in, which was a long journey. I would get up in the morning. One thing that I did that really helped me was affirmations. Like I said, they told me you could train your brain. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get up every morning and say something good in the mirror about myself. So I get up in the morning and be like, oh, you're awake at 8 in the morning, and that was hard because I was a night person. And then I'd wake up in the morning and say, you're worth it. Well, I said, you're worth it for 21 days. And just one day, it just was like, I am worth it. I can do this. I'm going to be something. I don't know what. Well, I know now. I love my job, but I felt there was more to me than what I was allowing people to see or allowing myself to see. So affirmations really helped me a lot, a lot. I still do them to this day. Really.
Yeah.
Because it's still a struggle. I mean, you don't always get over everything. You
Right.
still have those little blinders in the back of your head to be like, do you really think you're really that worth it? Do you really think you're that good? Like, I still get that. Like, do you know your past? And so I try now to speak my past more to maybe help somebody understand that they're worth it, and they can do it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the epitome of how we learn self-esteem, honestly. And we've talked about this on this program before, that the way that you learn healthy self-esteem is you esteem yourself from the inside out. I can tell you you're wonderful all day long. Your family can tell you you're wonderful all day long. But if you don't look at yourself and think you're wonderful from the inside out, it's all noise. Because at the end of the day, you think I'm wonderful, but I don't. And so that doesn't do anything for me. But it's when
Yep.
you open yourself up to you and you look at yourself, the good, the bad, the ugly, and you say, I'm awesome. I'm worth it. I'm something. I'm making my life better. Whatever that affirmation is, I agree with you. Then we start to believe it, and then we esteem ourselves on the inside. So then that grows. So now when
Yeah.
we're around other people and other people say, hey, you're awesome, you're just like, you're dang right I am, because I already know it.
Yep.
And so whether you think I am or not is irrelevant. It's nice to hear you say it, but I already know that I am. And so that's where that change takes place. And that's what I hear you saying you've been doing.
Yeah. People have told me I'm great, I'm beautiful, I'm this, you're just special, you're sweet, you can make anybody love you. And I'm like, you guys are wrong. Y'all don't know me. I know me. So I was closed off forever when people would tell me things, because I was like, I told you that. And I was like, no, I know you guys have all told me, but I had to tell myself, because nobody else can make you feel better but yourself. And it's hard to really come to who you've become. And you got to learn to just love every bit of it, all your scars. They're beautiful.
Yeah.
They really are, to make you who you are.
Yeah. So then that day, about a year and a half or so ago, you came and you sat in my office. And what you communicated to me was, I'm worth it.
Yeah.
That's what you communicated. I don't know whether you said those words. You talked to me some about some changes that you've made in your life and the path that you're on now. But for the first time in the history of me knowing you, truthfully, I heard you say I'm worth it. And the second that I heard you say I'm worth it was the second that I thought, yay. She sees it. I told you that all those years ago and you didn't believe me either, I don't think, but you did on that day. That was the day that I got to see it. And so that's when I saw in you somebody who has the ability to take all of those things and turn them into something positive. And I see you continue to do that on the day to day. You're trying to turn all of those things into something. I heard you have a conversation today where what I saw you doing was trying to turn something positive by sharing something from your life that necessarily wasn't a positive experience, but to turn it around and frame it in such a way as that somebody can see that and learn and grow from that and be a better person because of it. And so now you're doing that.
Yay,
It's
Leah.
amazing. Like, yeah. It's amazing. Like, I can say this. Becky is the only person that I've spoke to growing up. My mom's got me 180 counselors, but you can tell the disgust in their eyes when you start talking to them. That's how I felt. Like, and you know, mom was like, fine, I'll get Becky. Becky would listen to me. Always. You've always listened to me, Becky. And never once had any ill comment. Never once, she's like, okay. Like it didn't bug her, it didn't offend her when I'd say these horrific things that it did to every other counselor. So it really took a patient person with me. And when I walked in a year and a half ago, I never thought I could get a job there because of who I was before, but I'm not that person. And when I got that glimpse, I was like, huh, because I really went in there to ask her to help me because I want to help people, because the only way you can keep it is to give it away. And so I just said, and then Becky gave me the job, and I was like, no way. And I love my job because I get to feel like I'm helping somebody, that I understand what they're going through, and so it's just, I feel comfortable at home where I'm at because, I'm just really comfortable at home there, because I feel like I'm just even making a bed. I knew that they would be able to come in from something that I've been through, and I've walked in those doors and I had a clean bed and it was pretty. That's been a big thing. And a couple other people working there were like, yeah, because when you walk in and you're upset, the first thing you look at is what, your bed. And there's a Bible on there, there's a blanket on there, it's clean, it looks pretty. So I prided myself that way at first.
And believe
So
me, it makes a difference too. Because I know when I walked in the cottage, I stayed there at the shelter, and just walking into the cottage and just seeing all the little things that I knew somebody like you had done to set it up for me. And it just made me cry all over again, and just so grateful for whoever the employee or the volunteer was who did all of this. It felt like home to be in that
Yeah,
little cottage. Mm-hmm.
they do. They really do.
Yeah.
What I stayed all the way when I first stayed there, it was way different than they are now. They're beautiful now. And I get to help do that. And it makes, well, first, it makes me feel like I'm accomplishing something in my life. And, another thing, I just know where I was at in that time. And I pride myself on making sure that somebody smiles or, just are happy, it makes me feel good. I have a great feel good job. I love it.
That's awesome.
yeah, and I mean, and it's every little thing, like what what you're talking about. It's every little thing that plays into that. And so walking into a cottage and saying, I feel like home plays into somebody thinks I'm worth doing this for, which plays into I think I might be worth doing this for. You know what I mean? It grows and grows and grows. And so there's not one detail. The services that we provide, there's not one detail that's not purposeful. Right down to do you have a matching set of sheets? or do you have a mismatched set of sheets? What does that say to you? Or, you know, are the curtains hung, or is there a crappy bed sheet hanging out the window that says something to you? You know, and so we have done a lot to make some improvements as we've had funding come up, because every little detail is supposed to
Mm.
communicate to somebody coming into our shelter, A, you're safe, but B, we value you, and C, the goal is that you start to value yourself. And so all of those things have to work together. So there's not one thing that's more important than another thing. Like, they all have to happen.
Yep.
And the team has to work. And Rebecca, I would assume that was your experience 20 years ago. I mean, we've done some remodeling since then. But the intent behind the room that you were given when you came in 20 years ago is still the intent behind the room that somebody's given today when they come in. It looks a little nicer now. It didn't look terrible when you came in, but it's still gotten a facelift.
Love it. And those facelifts make a big difference, you know, to even though the person coming in doesn't know that you just gave it a facelift, you know,
Right.
it's still there's just such a difference there. But I did.
Yeah,
I just cried, just sat on the bed and just cried. It's like, this is mine. This is all mine. Yeah.
Mhm.
and how important is that?
Oh my
So
goodness. Yes. Well, you know, Leah, you came and stayed there too. It's yeah. What was that like for you?
Well, I was scared at first. And I went a couple times, didn't stay. I always went back. But when I got there, I'm like, I don't have to answer to nobody. I don't, you know what I mean? And I can try to wrap my mind around things, you know,
Yeah.
whether I did or not, because I know it does take people quite a bit of time. Sometimes, you know, I think the average they said was 7, to really realize that you need to get away, or you know, it's hard because you're just so used to things. But when I walked in there, I knew I was safe and I knew I was loved. And, you know, it was nice to walk over there and talk to everybody. Everybody was so nice to me there, you know. You know, I felt like I had friends, you know.
Mhm. And did,
So,
and I don't know about you, but I felt like they accepted me right where I was when I would go over and talk to them, even though I was very awkward and didn't feel very good about myself. They didn't seem to feel badly about me. And
yeah, no.
the acceptance, isn't it amazing? The acceptance is
Yes,
just so healing, just all in itself.
it is. Just, yeah, for somebody just to love you, you know,
Yeah,
for who you are. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. No, I get to do it. And I'll tell you what, the biggest paycheck I could ever get is when somebody hugs you and tells you thank you, that they're safe. It's beautiful. That is the paycheck that I need, you know, that's healed me too. It
Sure.
heals me on top of, you know, just to see them smile, you know,
I
like you
believe.
got somebody out of a bad situation.
Mhm.
It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then tell us a little bit about that. So the job, you went from support advocate to volunteer coordinator. You've been there for what, over a year? I don't know the exact amount of time because I'm terrible like that.
August 8th, Becky. No.
August 8th.
Why
Since
don't
August
we?
8th, so a year and a couple of months.
Mhm.
So let's talk about that. This is the first job of its kind, of this kind, that you've had. So let's talk about
Yes.
what has been what has been really good, positives, what has been the challenges or the struggles. Tell me about the last year and a half.
Well, when I first got in, you know, it was different. It's a more of a lax job, you know. You don't know what to expect when you get there. But it made me happy. Like I like cleaning anyways. So that was a big plus. Um, I think the hardest thing I have is I'm extremely passionate about my job. So when things don't go right, I might throw a fit here and there because I just want everything to be perfect. But and I've learned that I have to eat an alligator a bite at a time, right? Or is it a crocodile?
Elephant, an elephant.
An
You eat an
elephant.
elephant one bite at a time.
And I like to just eat the whole elephant. Okay. I have a problem. I like to eat the whole elephant. That's probably my struggles, but the good part is, just the ladies and the people I work with, it's a smaller place. There's just a little bit of us, just like 11 of us. So you kind of get to know everybody. And, when you know you're out for good, it kind of just changes it. You know that nobody's out there for bad. Everybody just wants the best for these people. So I don't know. And then when I got into the volunteer coordinator, I kind of feel at home there because I get to talk to everybody. I have not met a stranger. They're all my friends. We have one person that works or volunteers there. He's an older gentleman, but I'm very fond of him. He teaches me a lot, and I don't know, everybody's just relaxed. We kind of just, I don't know, it's awesome. I love my job. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, and it's in an environment where we let people find their strengths.
Yeah.
And so, here's a job description, but you're going to have your individual strengths to make this job work. And so when you say it's lax, what you mean is it's laid back in the fact that there's not somebody domineering over the top of you and saying, this is the expectation of how you have to do this, and it must be done this way at this time, because that doesn't work because we're dealing with people in crisis.
Yep.
And so I think it gives you the opportunity, especially in the role that you're in now, to find your strengths and just grow on, build on those strengths and become stronger and stronger with that. And so I'm not a no person, I'm a yes person. So, I have this thing that I want to try. Okay, you make it work, see what you can do. And so I feel like for somebody who's trying to make a life change and kind of heal and grow from a place, it's a perfect fit for you because you can kind of test your wings in the safety of there's still some parameters. So, you know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. I mean, I've gone way overboard and, and I've had to be reeled in a couple times, but a lot more than normal, but I've been able to like find out what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. I think I'm going to be great at this one job. I'm like, oh, I want this, but then I'm like, no, I'm good, not good at that. But yeah, it's really cool to be able to find myself in this job and to kind of grow in it, like from where I was to where I am now. I mean, I'm growing and getting to learn new things and finding out what I like, and which I love demolition, everybody, but
You
we
and
got to
me
change
both.
out a shower. That was super fun. But yeah, I'm learning a lot, and kind of finding out who I am. And it's nice to have a boss that's just like, okay. I'm like, really? I could go get this, and do this. All right, So it's been kind of cool, And I know everybody we annoy each other because there's only a couple of us. So of course we're gonna annoy each other. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I think we have an amazing staff.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I love the ladies too. It's really awesome to watch them grow and to see them when they first come in to when they leave or if they get transitional. It's kind of awesome to watch people grow,
Yeah.
It's cool.
Bet it would be.
Then on a scale of 1 to 10 from where you started 2.5 years ago with your sense of self-worth to where you are now with your sense of self-worth, where would you put it?
Put it at 11, Becky.
Rock on.
I know I'm worth it.
Awesome.
I know I'm worth it. I know that nobody's gonna love me like I can love myself,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm blessed.
That's fantastic. That's the goal.
Yes. Love myself. Every bit of me.
That's the goal.
Yes. It's
So
a
I
hard
think
road, but it's doable.
I agree. And I think you've done it. And I think you made a commitment to do it and you have. So you should be very proud of yourself for the growth and change that's taken place in you. And I know your granddaughter sees it and benefits from it.
Oh yeah, she's my best friend. She's cool. I've gotten really close to her, and you do still get those little regrets, because I didn't do it for my kids, but I'm just blessed to be able to do it for my daughter, for my grandkid,
Mm-hmm.
I do it because I love my daughter, and that's my way of showing her I'm sorry in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But my grandkid has become my rock. Like we do everything together. I have her every weekend, and that's my best friend because I was always concerned about friends and people. And now my best friends too. Everybody says I need new friends. Yes,
Love it.
my best friend is too. The coolest kid ever.
That's
It's so
awesome.
it's so fun being a grandma, isn't it?
I love it.
I told Becky, I said, I wish I could have been a grandma first, but I don't know how to make that happen. That doesn't,
No,
yeah,
it makes sense.
Yeah, we had a doctor on here one time we were interviewing, and I said that, and she said, not possible. And I said, really? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it could be.
I don't
Yeah.
think
If you dated somebody, say you didn't have kids, you couldn't have kids to do that. But if you have kids, it's not feasible.
Right. Right.
I think a grandma to me is a person that has known what they've done wrong with their kids and they try to fix their wrongs with their grandkids in a way because you kind of have a little more wisdom. So I have to agree with the doctor. There's no way because you have to make those mistakes to be the coolest grandma ever.
Right.
I'm a Nina. My granddaughter named me Nina. So, and then my brother decided to have a kid really young. So my nephew calls me Aunt Nina. So I'm definitely a Nina.
That's so cute.
Yeah, I love them. They're so cool. They're really cool. I finally got my family back, and when you love yourself, things just come back to you slowly but surely, little at a time.
Oh yeah. Has that been a slow well, let me ask you this way. I'll do it in a Becky format. So tell me what that's been like for you coming back, and that healing process between like you and your parents, you and your siblings.
It has been a struggle. You have to be, that's where I'm blessed that I had my fighter instinct because I've had to fight for my family because after you've let people run you over so long, you ignore the people that love you.
Yeah.
So it's taken, well, my mom, of course, just takes me back because she's like, I knew it. You're not the black sheep. You're the tie-dye sheep. I said, you're right, Mom. Yes, I am. My dad, it took my dad almost a year and a half for him to say it, but he told me he was proud of me. That was hard. But my youngest daughter, we're working on 2 years. Before she wanted nothing to do with me, told me it ruined her life because she's been through some tragedies and I wasn't there for her. So it's been a struggle with her. My other kids, it's taken a long time, My sister, it took her almost a year before we became close because I always try to get my life together and I messed it up. So I mean, today I'm 2.5 years into it, and I hang out with my brother once a week, and I talk to my sister 3-4 hours a day. So family is really important, and if you don't have a family, make a family. It doesn't have to be
Thank you.
blood; it just has to be people that truly love you. So family is very important through your finding yourself. So I'm blessed to have a family, but a lot of people don't. But there is people out there.
Yeah.
I consider a lot of people at my work family. So yeah, I take them all in. I'm not allowed to, Becky said no, but
you can't take everybody home.
darn it. I tried. Becky's like, no. Dogs too.
Leah, we just thank you so much for coming on tonight and your bravery to share your story.
Well, thank you guys for having me on there. I kind of choked up. I never really choke up. I usually have words on words, but I guess it's a little harder to talk about it more than I thought. But I really appreciate you guys having me on here, and I really do. And I enjoyed meeting you, Becca. I love you, Becky. But thank you guys so much for having me on here.
You've done a great job. Thank you very much for sharing your story. I know it's tough, but it's hard to be vulnerable, but I think that you've been vulnerable and somebody's going to benefit from hearing it.
This is the international hand signal for help. And it could be maybe they're being trafficked, they've been kidnapped, they're being abused, whatever it is. So if you see somebody do this, they're going to take their thumb captive and the four fingers are. Well, folks, we thank you for joining us. And Miss Becky, of course, we thank you for being here too. Don't want to
My
forget
pleasure.
you.
You're amazing.
Thank you.
She is, isn't she? I give her a hard time, but she is. She really is amazing.
Well, thank
Yes.
So folks, remember that no matter where you are in this process, you're always free to soar.